Oh, okay, hi VC, Uncle Roddus here again, this time with a vinyl video as opposed to a CD video. Yeah, I've had so much records arriving, it's unbelievable. Out of control, not good. No, actually partly what happened was we got a new roof put on our house, and so I took all the old iron off the roof that they took off the roof and recycled it at the scrap merchants, and actually got a couple $100 of scrap for that and some other bits and pieces that I had lying around, plus also some other monies that I had from other sources, allowed me to get fairly carried away on the vinyl scene. So this video I'm actually just going to concentrate on all the New Zealand purchases that I've made from New Zealand records, New Zealand artists, over the last couple of weeks. And I'll start with one. On Friday night there was a 3-band concert at a venue in Christchurch that I'd seen online, and there was a band coming down from Wellington called Into Orbit, and they are what people would describe as a post-rock band, so they pretty much instrumental, a little bit experimental. So they have some nice quiet jangly sort of guitars with some sound effects, and then they get all heavy, and turns out that the band is actually a duo of guitars and drums, and so they played live at this concert and with a couple of other local bands. It was a good night, really enjoyed it. All 3 bands are really good. I actually liked the 2 local bands better than the Wellington band, Into Orbit. But anyway, I had it before I went to the concert. I was looking around online at the bands because I'd never heard of any of them, and fortunately the wonders of the internet, most of these bands are on SoundCloud or YouTube or Bandcamp, so there's ways of hearing some of their music. So all 3 bands had music online, and I was able to check them out and have a quick listen, and I was impressed. I like that sort of music. So Into Orbit had an LP that they released back in 2014 called Caverns, and here it is here. Probably some sort of limited edition, no doubt, and gatefold there. And I actually ordered the album via their Bandcamp page, and I got an email the next day saying, hey, we're coming down to do this concert, which of course I knew, but they didn't know that I knew, and if you're in Christchurch we can drop this off to you. And then he realised that I'm not actually in Christchurch, I'm quite a wee way out. So anyway, he said, oh look, if you were thinking of coming to the concert, we'll bring it down. And I said, yeah, that's cool with me. So he put my name on the door and waived the cover charge in lieu of actually for the postage, and so that worked out quite nice, actually, so $2 as well. So that worked out nicely. So I got this record. So yeah, I saw them live first before I actually listened to the record, apart from the little short bit I listened to online. And yeah, I liked it, and the concert was nice. I was a wee bit disappointed with them on the night compared to the other 2 bands. Actually, there was a fair bit of distortion in their music, which made it a bit difficult to follow. But I had listened to the record this morning, and yeah, that's really nice. It's like some quiet, drony, atmospheric pieces, and then it rocks out really heavy. But it comes across a lot nicer on the record anyway. Live concerts, they can be pretty loud and distorted, hard to hear sometimes. So yeah, I took a trailer load of scrap in yesterday and came back with a whole bunch of records, but some of them, these are a couple I got yesterday, plus some others which I'll show in another video. But first up was this one. I went into Galaxy Records because they never open apart from on the weekends, and they had this. So this is Tall Dwarfs, I think, 2nd album. This is reissue from 2014 via Flying Nun and Captured Tracks. So this is actually made in the USA and then imported back to New Zealand. So this is their 2nd album, the Tall Dwarfs. So I'm reasonably familiar with most of their EPs from the old days, although I don't think I have any. I don't think I ever owned any, but I certainly was quite familiar with the music. It was played a lot on student radio back in the day. Yeah, so, and then this album here, Chris Knox's, I think this is his debut solo album, from 1989, so a couple of years later than the previous one. And this has his hugely successful song, Not Given Lightly, which is an acoustic love song that he did for his wife at the time. and it's a beautiful song, and some friends of mine actually played it at their wedding, which I think quite a few people do, so it's a very well known New Zealand song. Again, this is a reissue from 2000, doesn't actually say. Actually, this is right, this is brand new out, yeah, I think, from memory, because I remember seeing it on Flying Out. So yeah, again, this is the version that's come from Captured Tracks. Yeah, so this is the American imported version of that album. So I don't know whether the Flying Nun are actually releasing a local version of that, but it's interesting. So the other last week, or during the week, as they were ripping the roof off, I took my first load into town and I picked up some local jazz. So this is the Roger Fox Big Band from 1980 live at the Montreux International Jazz Festival. This is a double album. Now, I haven't actually had a decent listen to it yet. Roger Fox, in case you haven't seen any other videos that I mentioned, I bought a recent CD of his. He has been around from, as you know, many years, from 1980, so he's been around well over 30 years. Big band, well known in New Zealand, probably one of the most well known New Zealand jazz guys. He's a trumpeter. I think, I'm not sure whether he writes a lot of his own stuff or not. I know the last CD wasn't, it was all covers of New Zealand. This is on Ode Records, and I kind of do snap up a lot of the Ode stuff that I see. They were a New Zealand label that started in the late 60s, and for many years probably just released several, mostly 7-inch, few pop singles from the time, but then they branched out into all sorts of stuff. But they did a fair bit of jazz. This is hugely clean recording. It's probably digital. It's probably a very early digital recording from 1980, because it's very clean sounding, and the vinyl's quite nice. It's I wouldn't say it's out there sort of music. I mean, and I need to give it a bit more attention than that, but I'll have another listen to it. Anyway, and then so I was walking through the jazz bins, and I spotted this. So this is another Ode record, and this is a very early Ode. This is actually Ode 020. So this was the 20th release, whereas that one there by 1980 they were up to 126, 127. I'm not sure whether those are sequential numbers, how random they are. I mean, so anyway, this one here I spotted Norman Cummings Trio. So this is a bass, piano, drums trio. This is from 1970. Was it 72 or 75? I think it might be 75. Yeah, so it's a fairly old release. Yeah, if I'd read the title a bit more closely when I was at the shop, it says "Swing Lightly Through Latin and Western." You know, so that's not a title that would appeal to me. The cover is quite cool, and the fact that it's a drum, bass, and piano trio is enough for me. But they've got some, it's basically a cover version, so by the time I get to Phoenix, Wichita Lineman, Quango Quango, Do You Know the Way to San Jose? So yeah, it's pretty laid back, mellow, elevator music, to be honest, so it's not something that will get a lot of attention from me. But actually, the playing is nice, the sound quality is good, and it's on Ode Records, so it's a nice addition to my New Zealand collection. And I've been wanting to get into more New Zealand jazz, and this is what I've been finding. So you know, and they're not expensive, some of these. But here's another Ode record. This one here, A Labour of Love, the Dick Hot Sextet. This is this is mostly self composed music as opposed to covers like the other one. This was from 1981. So this is Ode 136. Again, yeah, nice quality. The first track, it's a Dick Hop original. It's really, really cool. It's quite up tempo. Some of it's a bit less up tempo, mellow. He is, what does he play? He's a where is it? He's a flute. Oh, he plays flute and amplified flute and percussion. Yeah. So it's an interesting record. Like I said, the first track was really, really good. I got violin on it as well. Yeah, bass guitar, electric acoustic guitar, drums, percussion, flute, percussion. Hang on, where does it say violin? There's a picture of a man with a violin on the front of it, so I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but I'm sure I remember hearing violin on it when I played it. Yeah. Anyway, that one there's a bit more, yeah, it's original and than the previous record, so I quite like it. And then yesterday as well, when I was in there, I picked up this one, which had obviously only just arrived in the last couple of days. Song of Home, Alan Broadbent Trio. This is actually on Kiwi Pacific Records, and Tata, I'm not sure. So Tata is the label on the inside. If I take it out there, that's quite cool. I haven't actually seen that before. There's the label there. This is very good. Yeah, this is yeah. Again, it's a trio. Piano bass drums. Yes, it is. Oh, Frank Gibson's on this actually. Frank Gibson, I've come across before. He played on that Mike Knox album that I've got a couple of years earlier. This was from 1986. So yeah, no, this is a nice set. Now, it was interesting that when I bought this, the guy who owns Penny Lane Records, Dave, is a buyer and seller of ultra rare records, collectible records, expensive records, and that's how he got into having a record shop earlier on. But he doesn't sell that sort of stuff in his shop because probably no one would buy it. He commented to me that he said, "Guess how much this used to sell for?" And I said, "I have no idea." And he said, "This used to sell on the Japanese market for $1,200 a copy." He sort of explained a bit about it, but I don't really know. He was buying them up for $800 or $900, and he was getting $1,200 for them on the Japanese market. So he does a lot of international selling and trading in that for at the really high end of the market. I don't know why that sort of fell out. I mean, I only paid $40 for this, so that's pretty cool. I'm not going to pay $1,200 for it. Anyway, the last New Zealand one. This has been a long time coming. This here, the Overflow by Humphries and Keen. This was highly recommended by Chris Walker. This is number 328 of 500, and it was released in 2009 by Sweet Pea Sounds. And this is actually, I think this is an American release. Unfortunately, I had a real trouble getting my hands on this because I'd ordered it, and I think 2 months went by before, and nothing had happened, and it was through PayPal, and I actually ended up having to practically open a dispute because I had emailed them several times, and then they finally got back to me after I'd opened a dispute, and it turned out that all their messages were going into a spam folder, so that wasn't very good. So that was fine. They just said, "Oh yeah, we'll get you a copy," so that was good. And then it turned out they didn't have any copies locally, so they had to send this one back over from the States. So, okay, that's kind. I finally got it. Bit disappointed. Got a big tear in the seam. It was packaged in a very thin, flimsy envelope, and it wasn't shrink wrapped. It's got a wee bit of wear on the edges there. So the vinyl's okay, but I was a bit disappointed with that. I did make a note to the guy in the email and said, "Listen, this is for future reference. I'm not going to follow it up anymore. There's probably not many copies of this around now, but yeah, a bit disappointed in that. But the music's pretty cool. I mean, I've listened to side one last night because I haven't had a lot of time, but yeah, I liked it, and I think it's something that it's quite poppy, and it's not heavy going, but there's a lot happening in it, and I think it's sort of the music that can grow quite a lot. So yeah, looking forward to learning around my way around it, but it's certainly highly recommended by Chris, so looking forward to that. Anyway, so that's the New Zealand collection so far. Really pleased to have a lot more New Zealand jazz, and between that and the Rattle CDs, I'm really starting to build up quite a nice little collection of New Zealand jazz, and that, so I certainly keep my eyes out. The old record stuff, yeah, it's a real hit and miss. Some of their stuff's really good, but I mean, some of their stuff's really pretty quite lame in some ways. I've got another one that I picked up, which is more of a pop one, which is really processed 1980s sort of sound, and don't like it at all. But I quite like buying them and collecting them, so that's fine. Anyway, that's about me for this video, and there'll be some more coming soon. Thank you, have a good day, catch you next time. Thanks for watching.